Hey guys, is this thing going? Oh, yep, 8 seconds in. Happy Black History Month. It's February now and Black History Month, and to celebrate, we're gonna learn some real. We're gonna learn some real Black history. So we're gonna learn about the Hebrew. Well, actually, technically not real Black history because these aren't real Black people. I mean, they're Black. They're not Africans. They're Hebrews. So, and nowhere in history is this debatable at all. Um, but in fact, I don't even think genealogically in the Bible you can look at the Semitic people. You can look at, whatever, all the people. I don't think even in there you can debate it, but they do anyway. And where is their proof? Here's one of them. We're going to take a look at it. The curses of Deuteronomy 28. They apply it, the Hebrew Israelites, they apply it to what they would say is supposed like black people, the so-called black man, the so-called African. Really, Africa is Israel. I'm not 100% sure where Africa is actually, or what Africa, or whatever, but Africa is Israel. That's all that matters, and those are the real Hebrews. Anyways, Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. So off the land. So they look at that, they say, the land as in Israel, as in so-called Africa. So who are the question for that is who are the Hebrew Israelites? Many different views on that. Some believe, I can't even quite address that. I'm trying to think because there's so many different denominations. Let's say the black people, the so-called black people, for the sake of them, or you if you're watching, I suppose. The so-called black man was taken away. Was it black, the people that became the slaves in America? Or was it all black people? Was it all so-called Africans, so-called black people? Because they're not all there. Very few of them were like sold into slavery. Very few of them were sold and taken on the slave ship. Like to America, it was like one ship or something like that. Very few were taken to America. So, as opposed to the amount of Africans that live there. I don't know if it was one ship. I think there was something that Andrew Jackson did with the slaves, like where he brought new ones. I don't know. I know one ship initially. Don't quote me on that. My point is, Who is that? Is that everyone in Africa? Is that most? You can't say either. So is it the, who is it? Are there certain people in Africa that are the real Hebrew Israelites? If that's the case, how do you tell? Is it just the ones that got taken away? I don't know if this breaks your whole thing, but it's definitely something where it's like, you need to take a second. Yeah. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with a sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. So who is they? The problem with this whole thing is, when did this even happen? Because I realized, I was just talking about slavery, and that's, typically when they'd say that happened, when the Europeans came and took slaves from the Africans, bought slaves. So that happened then. So did Israel faithfully follow God until that time? Or when did this all happen? Did, and if that's the case, like the historical books in the Bible about the deportation, what was that? Was that something different? This is maybe something I could share in a future video. Maybe I'll get to that. But yeah, who are they that pursue? Is it the so-called Africans that enslaved each other? Who is it exactly? And the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder, and dust from heaven shall it come down upon thee, until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Again, I guess I don't need to keep asking it, but the question of why are they getting kicked every, which way? Who's doing that? Excuse me. So that's kind of and where does this even start? Let me know. I'm interested. And the carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord will smite thee with a botch of Egypt, and with the emerald, and with the scab, and with the itch whereof thou canst not be healed. Egypt? Where's Egypt? Because Egypt is a real place. But apparently modern day Egypt is in Africa. So is that Egypt back in the day too? Is all of Africa Israel? Is that Egypt? Is that the real Egypt? Or if not, where is the real Egypt? Who are they? And let's put this in the context of modern day slavery, because that's the time, Africans being deported or whatever to other countries, or not modern day, but in the 1500s. Were they attacked by Egyptians? Is America Egypt? Now that's a real geography thinker right there. Is that how that works? Is it, how does that work exactly? Because they're getting smitten with Egypt. So where is that from? Why? Any thoughts? I'm just trying to reason this out. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her, and thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. And I believe that's one of the verses where they're like, see, look at that. It's it's a so-called black man in the slavery of America. I mean, the Middle East, that happened in the Middle East. That happened quite a bit. That still goes on in the Middle East. Slavery is a global thing. The Middle East, still today, is in China like crazy. Asia, just period. I believe it's very prevalent in Russia. I think that's where the word slave came from in the modern sense. Slavery wherever. People, having a wife and another man sleeps with her. Building a house and not staying there. Whatever else. I mean, this is not America. This is not so-called black Americans. That is painful to pretend like that's real. Black Americans, I think you guys know what I'm saying. The slaves, sure, absolutely, that stuff happened, but you can't, that's not proof. That's like that one thing, So that is very applicable to like every slave. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. So I'm trying to think. So when did that happen? Also, was that in America? Was that in Africa? Or, who does that? I don't know. Sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. And that is almost exclusively black Americans. No, it's not. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine enemies which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. All right, that pretty much. You're not really getting out of that. I'm sorry. That's, yeah. So, riddle me this. Who's the king of Africa? Who's the king of Africa when the slaves were taken? That doesn't even make sense, that question. Who is the king of Africa? Just Google the king of Africa and find that for me. Find a king of Africa, of the whole thing. I'm not saying a little section. I'm saying the whole thing. And then you're going to have to show how how Africa's king was taken during the slave trade, if that's what you're going with, and it was taken to America, and there he and all the Africans that were made into slaves, they went and they were made to worship gods of wood and stone. There was a lot of those back in the back when the slaves were taken there, weren't there? A lot of gods of wood and stone that the Puritans liked. That's why they left England. Their religious freedom to worship their gods of wood and stone. You know, they have their King James Bible. Wait, was it that? I'm trying to think. Their Tyndale translation in one hand, and their little statues in the other hand. And they were really into those at any point in history. The founding fathers, they had their little statues. They liked to worship. George Washington had one in the White House. He had his little statue of wood just sitting there. It was a little, yep. He liked to work. He worshipped to it every night. Just don't read any of his writings or any of the founding fathers. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and thou shalt gather but little, for the locust shall consume it. Yeah, I'm not reading this whole thing, honestly. That it just gets more and more generic. I kind of got the... Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's where it was. The bottom one, 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. So is Egypt America? Egypt's America. Is that right? Is that a real thing? Egypt is America? Or what is that? I've heard that, it's metaphorical. I don't have a clue how it's metaphorical. It's pretty clear. So I don't think that's true at all. But yeah, I mean, just think about that. Were they brought into to Egypt, to America? Did geography switch? When Jacob and his family went to Egypt, did they take a bunch of ships to America for a while, where they were made slaves? And then they left. And then they were just taken back. When they went to Egypt, did Jacob and his family in this worldwide famine go to a whole nother continent that is, let me see. How long from Africa? This is kind of a dumb question to look up. I'm pretty sure this is Africa to America. Wow. 200. Okay, so if Africa to America, 15-hour flight, 15 hours and 21 minutes. Do that math with a boat during a worldwide famine. Let me see. How fast is the average plane? What is the video at for? Oh, it's like 20 minutes. How fast is a passenger plane? 460 to 575 miles per hour. So that's about a good 15 hours. Man. What kind of boats did they have? How long from Africa to America by boat? Let's just go with that. How long? So 17. What does that say? 17 and 1/2 day. So probably like 12 to however many more days each way, with this famine, with no food, with this boat. How do they even make it? How do they make it so like that? How did, is that not in the Bible? What's going on? I don't know. I want answers.